Greetings, heroes. Thank you for joining us. Now that we've seen all the individual introductions for each character, we're going to watch and witness them all join together for their grand adventure. So let's get started. All right, we begin back with Jennifer entering the Garen cog. As you walk out into a small attic room, you are covered with frost. Jennifer takes a moment to shake the frost from her body, clatters to the floor. Instead of like normal frost, though, where you would see it begin to turn to water and pool, the frost steams away and seems to burn to the atmosphere. As you head towards the door, the only exit from this area, a small wooden enclosure with a glowing mirror, the opposite side of the mirror you exited the Godmother's headquarters from.
Before she gets too far, she's going to pull out her small mirror and try again. She does the rune on it, and she goes, "Rafe?"
You receive no answer.
Close it. Put it away.
Opening the door, you wouldn't think that you would immediately head out into what you do come into, but you come into a full stone hallway, complete with large suits of armor in it, a bit like a castle. As you begin to head in the direction you know lays the city proper, you are in another part of the world. You have teleported across distance, and find yourself in the City of Heroes, the City of Garen. And as you walk, you will notice that occasionally some of the suits of armor are going to turn their heads slightly to watch you pass. You see into open atriums where teachers are floating teacups with their wands. Students seem to be wearing many different colored robes, bright and vibrant leathers, and some rather expensive clothing as well. And as you pass through, you head through the Zentaram, a magical school for the gifted.
Yes.
Excuse me, Zaratam. I believe it's
Zaratan.
As you head to the front door, you see two guards that know who you are, because when you exited the portal, you changed your shape into a different woman, Seraphina Emberfall. As you get to the guards, they are going to give small bows in the direction of Seraphina. Greetings, mistress.
Do carry on.
Indeed. The guards have the strong jawlines of Garen men. As you head out into the streets, you find a bustling metropolis filled with dozens of visible different creatures and races before you. You see the stout, squat, strong building architecture of the Garen city, a lot of stonework and great sigils of eagles, and a dual-placed, what looks like a shield almost, that seems to be drawn on many walls and engraved in the architecture. But dominating the skyline is a massive hill that rises up into a citadel, and that is where the 7 kings of Garen sit upon their thrones, ruling over the great city.
She will look around, and she has a very austere visage. As she walks down the street, she kind of looks around, but she has a slight smile on her face as she watches everybody go about. But her steps are purposeful, and she's going quickly.
As you make it to the long, winding serpentine path that heads up to the citadel, yes.
She is also going to cast Ascending.
Okay.
And give herself an announcement so that she's not completely surprising them when she gets there. She doesn't want to have to argue with guards and whatnot.
You receive a sending back that says that you'll be taken care of when you arrive.
She had a brief moment where she was clearly talking to herself as she walked down the street.
When you wind up the long, steep path to the Citadel, you have the option of taking a coach up the way, since you are an important person of the city.
Of course. It's also faster.
Fortunately, the guise that you are wearing, Serafina, is a very powerful and influential individual within the city, and it receives some manner of luxury upon her entrance. As you are coached up to the top of the Citadel rise, you see a massive castle gate before you with red brick. And as you head into the castle courtyard, you find yourself greeted by what appears to be a king's attendant and 2 king's guards. The king attendant, as you step out, "My lady, Serafina, you are most welcome here. Please, if you would follow me, we will take you to an area so you can wait for the kings."
Please inform them that I must make all haste.
"Oh yes, of course," he says. As you walk, he's going to say, "Oh, it may be an hour or so. They are currently ensconced in tactical business, you understand. So we will bring you a number of refreshments for your wait."
Her eye twitches just slightly, but she just nods. She knows that she can't bull rush her way through the politics right now.
As you are taken to your room to wait, how does June wait?
She sits down and she steeples her fingers, closes her eyes, and then she's going to just ponder what exactly happened. She's trying to recall everything she can and see if she remembers feeling anything now that she just was too shocked to feel earlier.
You ponder the events, but you simply don't have enough information to come to a sure conclusion yet. Unfortunately, about 20 minutes, that same dwarven king's attendant is going to open the door. "Oh, my lady, excuse me. It's going to be another hour or so before the kings are able to speak with you. They've been postponed," he says. "I'm sure you understand."
Very well.
And the door will shut. You wait politely?
At this point, she does get up, and she's alone, I assume.
Yes.
Did she get delivered refreshments?
You do have a table full of refreshments before you.
Anything good?
Yeah, I mean, castle.
She beelines for the cake that's there.
You take a slice of cake. As soon as you pick up the knife for the cake, you are suddenly struck. As if a great wagon barrels down a hill directly into you. You feel an immense pain and pressure attack your mind. You fall over with the force of it. And as you stagger on the ground, you see a vision, a prophecy comes to Juniper's mind. This prophecy delivers in a frantic and messy way information directly to your brain. That information is 5 names. Roland Tarkan, Euphemia Carr, Isaac Crowley, Juniper, and Might Be a Hero. And then the vision gives you a great sense of urgency. But unlike any other prophecy you've ever received in your whole life, that is it. No rhyme, no verse, just panic. This pain subsides, and you find yourself on the floor, alone, unnoticed.
June is panting from the experience of the moment, and she shakily gets to her feet. At that point, she exits the room and walks towards the throne room.
As you approach, the dwarven attendant is waiting outside the throne room. He seems to kind of be pondering upon what's happening inside. And the moment he notices you coming forward in your heeled shoes...
She's also really pale right now. There's a slight sheen of sweat on her head.
"Oh, Miss Amberfont, I'm so sorry. Were the refreshments not delivered appropriately?"
She keeps walking. She goes, "I need to see them now."
Roll an intimidation check. And since you are an important member of the city, you will receive advantage.
And I lost it. 16.
Wait here. I'll see what I can do, he says. You see there are many figures in silver plate armor of the guard corps inside the throne room currently, and they seem to be talking heatedly between what appears to be the King Kodan, a giant white bear man, an angel, a woman angel, who's sitting on one of the, she is wingless, and a halfling on another throne, but those are the only three you can see through the slice of the door that you are visible. He's going to walk in and sort of meekly interrupt, and then proceeds to tell them that Lady Amberfont wishes to see them. Kodan is going to say, "We're not making any progress here." He says, "Lord Durin, please return to your rooms and let us ponder your requests. We have other matters to attend to at the moment." You hear, "My lord." The human is going to bow to the giant bear in plate armor, and then the entourage is going to leave, and the dwarf is going to come back out. "They will see you now," he says.
Good. And she just walks past him.
You're going to see, although you don't see it, the dwarf bristles his beard, becoming a bristly bunch. And you are going to walk into the throne room. You will see, arrayed before you, the 7 kings of Garen.
She straightens herself out, obviously, and...
The seats, so there is a large circular stone floor with a spiraling pattern upon it. And then across the chamber from you, 7 seats rise up into the air, each one sort of making a large bow shape out of the whole of them. So they kind of get higher near the middle and then lower towards the sides. Currently, Kodan, the King of War, a giant bear, is sitting in the center chair. And there's a little, like, stairwell that leads up to each throne behind the seats. You know for a fact that the kings vie for the center seat because it's nice.
Is he in the center right now?
He is, yes. You also see Amanistrus the Angel. You see... Boris, the King of Justice, a Dragonborn. Amanistrus, an Aasimar, that's a fallen angel. Jasrid, the King of Coin, a halfling. Kodan, the War King, is an Urson, he's the bear. Noctel, elf, female, the King of Festivities. Rezium, the King of Works, a dwarf. They work on the roads and the sewers. And Tyrell, the King of the People, a human woman.
What was Boris, please?
I'm sorry?
Boris.
Boris is the King of Justice.
And Masters.
Masters is the King of Law.
Thank you.
You're going to see Lady Tyrell on the side. She's going to look up. She says, "Lady Amberfont, it has been long since you sought our court. What can we aid you with?"
Kings of Garen, I apologize for the...
"A moment, please." The Aasimar, Lady Amanistrus, says, as she points to the door behind. "Since your message is urgent, I assume it is also in need of secrecy." The doors are going to shut, with the guards grabbing them and pulling them closed. "I'm sorry, continue," she says.
I will cut to the chase. Something has occurred. We believe that something might have happened in the Crystal Forest. We are unable to contact any of our representatives near there. I'm aware that you are building a guard tower on the edge.
Boris, the Dragonborn, is going to look towards you. "What representatives does the school send to the Crystal Forest?"
She goes, "I have been in contact with the Godmothers. I have just been informed that a prophecy has been had."
You will see Kodan step forward. He's going to lean over. He's about 10 feet tall, so he's very big. He goes, "What manner of prophecy is this?"
One of utmost urgency. A young godmother is the one who had it. I will have to have her brought here for the exact wording. But it only just occurred.
"This godmother, she contacted you?" the minister says.
She did. She knows of my position within the city and among the magic schools.
And you are here as a representative of the Godmothers, then?
No, I am a connection.
To get the Godmother before us.
Correct.
And is this Godmother in Garen?
Yes.
Conan is going to say, allow us a minute to confer amongst ourselves, Lady Emberfront. You hear Boris as you turn to walk into a small side chamber. I am concerned that the Godmothers did not come themselves in this matter. You hear Conan say, does not matter. This is a threat. We must treat it as such. You hear them vote. There are two nays and the rest are ayes. They come back in. We've decided to accept this Godmother's warning. We would see her immediately.
I will send for her. She cuts on quickly.
How quickly can she be here? It is a woman?
Yes.
Magistress nods towards you.
She should be here soon. I will not be staying for the introduction. I simply wish to make it to you.
I understand. Thank you for your aid in this, Lady Emberfront.
Of course.
Yes, thank you.
I'm afraid I have much to deal with the schools.
Do we know anything about this that we might prepare for it?
I will allow her to explain it.
Very well. Thank you.
Of course. She looks a little put upon for, having to rush out here. Clearly she's a woman of great distinction who has things she needs to do. And clearly she was rushed over here. But I'm needed in Bridgewalk, so...
Well, we shall not hold you up then, the Magistress says. Goodbye.
Good day to you all, and I thank you for seeing me on such short notice.
Of course, Lady Emberfront, as a lady of nobility, is able to perform all the proper bows and procedures to leave the presence of the kings.
Of course.
And in the next couple of minutes, Jumper, in what form do you approach the kings next?
Her human form.
You become... go ahead and give us a vague description.
She is probably about 5'6" young woman. She appears to be maybe 20, 21. She has bright curly blonde hair that she keeps into a kind of a whimsical curly updo. And she's wearing a candy floss pink gown that glimmers and shimmers and sparkles occasionally.
Make sure I hand these out. That's Isaac and Candy Floss Pink. And at the beginning with Leslie. I like that part.
I was going to say, I was like, he doesn't get one.
The kings, upon your entry, Lady Tyrell is going to stand and give a bow. On behalf of the people of Garen, welcome, Godmother. I am usually the liaison to your people. I assume you are aware of our relations?
Yes, I was informed.
Wonderful. Then please, we hear you have a prophecy of the most dire circumstance to share.
Yes.
She sits.
She walks forward and she kind of has her wand out gently and she has it placed in front of her and she goes... It was a prophecy unlike any I'd ever heard of before, and I have studied much within the Godmothers. It did not come in the form that they always have. There was no verse, there was no rhyme.
Is such a thing possible? Boris says. Has there ever been a prophecy without a verse?
No.
Then how is it a prophecy?
I have had prophecies in the past.
You personally?
Yes.
You'll see Jasrid, the king of Coin.
Only a few, but I know what they feel like.
How well versed would you say you are in prophecy?
Versed enough to know what I'm talking about.
So then you are an expert in the matter, the Magistress asks.
As much as there can be one.
Very well, continue then.
I got a sense of immediate urgency. That must be acted upon. And
You see King Kodan's eyes narrow.
But all it was 5 names.
What were the names? Kodan says.
Roland Tarkin, Isaac Crowley. Is it Crowley?
Crowley.
Euphemia Carr, might be a hero, and me.
Might be a hero is a Meek's name.
Yes,
A Meek is part of this prophecy.
it would seem so.
That is unusual, is it not? Meeks are not usually involved in such things.
Generally no, but when one is basically smacked in the face by fate, one doesn't really argue.
It is a fair assessment. Tyrell, the Queen of the People, says. King. The magistrate continues. And these individuals, what are they to do?
I don't know. It felt as though it didn't finish, as though it were cut off.
A moment, please, the magistrate says as she puts her fingers to her head. She holds that for about a minute and a half. My kings, I have dire news that may be of import to what this godmother says to us. We've just received word from our scouts in the Crystal Forest that there was an explosion not too long ago near Yanjasi's cave. Godmother, do you know of the dragon Yanjasi, personally?
Yes.
She says, perhaps this is the form of the prophecy then.
To seek out what happened. We had asked Lady Amberfont to come and broach the subject of the guard towers.
Our scouts are not supposed to enter the Crystal Forest because of Yanjasi's own rules. They will not do so if we can avoid his wrath, she says. But if you have personal information, then the prophecy must be taking hold. You are here for this purpose, I assume.
I believe so. I believe we need to gather the others, and if fate is acting as it normally does, they should be near here.
With this strange happening of fate, Kodan says, a prophecy with no verse, we must assume that some damage may have befallen Yanjasi. Such a thing has never occurred in our lifetimes, he says. Therefore, since you have a personal relationship to the dragon...
She kind of gives an odd quirk of them assuming she automatically is buddies with this guy.
He says, and perhaps it is you who is to enter the forest and discover his whereabouts.
I believe that may be the case. I believe we also require the other 4.
If this is a normal prophecy, then all of them shall be within arm's reach of us. We will send guards out into the city in order to find them.
Yes.
But what if this prophecy is not normal, and they are scattered? It would be difficult to find a Meek.
Let us hope it is not so.
So, since I'm talking about them, Meeks are a unique race to Mythia. They are small blue people, about slightly larger or smaller, depending on their size, than a halfling, which are not particularly large at all, and are very weak, usually in need of protection in order to live their normal lives, and often require aid in simple and mundane tasks. Think useless villagers from any RPG you've ever played in your life. They have paladins called shepherds that protect them. That is a class of paladin specifically. And they name themselves for their own fates. So in this case, a Meek's name might be a hero. His fate likely tells him he might be a hero. You will meet plenty of Meeks, and they will all be delightful. You'll love them. All right, so with your warning, the kings send out feelers into the city in order to find out if these individuals are within the city limits. Of course, you all are hoping that that is the case, because if it's not, you have no fucking idea what you're going to do. Normal prophecies make these things easy and rather quick to accomplish.
She has a vaguely sinking feeling that since it was so odd, maybe it won't work.
Roland Tarkan! You're at home.
He opens the door. He's shirtless. Looks like he just woke up.
Oh, it's Arcat.
Yeah.
Sir,
Uh-huh.
your presence has been requested by the kings. You are to go immediately to the Citadel and report. They say it's a prophecy, sir.
Okay, I'll get dressed.
That would be alarming to you. Prophecies, you've never been directly involved in a prophecy before. Although Harper has often told you about his involvement in them and how dangerous they are.
Well, he's going to go grab a shirt, and he probably won't put on his armor. He's just going to put on a shirt and head that way.
All right. As you head outside, do you have any questions for the single guard who has come for you?
Honestly, since he just woke up, he usually goes for a run as soon as he wakes up. He's going to walk outside, stretch for a second, and he's just going to take off running.
Poor guard.
Then he sees you jog away from him and goes, you don't see this, but he goes, damn it. And he rushes in his heavy chainmail, trunk, as he heads after you. And you notice immediately as Shadow courses down from on high, like a silent, deadly bird of prey, and lands adjacent to you running. And is going to look towards you and then look at where you're trying to suggest where you're going. She
go to the
purrs.
Citadel.
She nods towards her own back.
I'm running.
She gives you a very clear, like, you're dumb face, and then is going to leap off into the air and easily soar on the high winds up towards the Citadel top. While you just get a morning jog and bust into calisthenics all over the place. You see her, "Hi, Roland," from your next door neighbor. And then you see several kids in the street. And you see one of them, they're all comparing their cool tattoos on the inside of their arm with each other. And you run your way to the Citadel. You were sitting down for lunch, sir.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
You are at a fine and fancy inn. Prongor is looking around. So, now that everything's put away, Master, from our travels, where should we begin? He says. How does one go about becoming a hero?
I'm in no rush, Prongor. It seems the pleasantries in life can be found in any major city.
3 guards, Garen all, come up to your table. Are you Isaac Crowley? They say towards you.
Who's asking?
You are immediately suspicious of your father's men, but you see that they are all wearing Garen armor and are all clearly guards of the castle. Your presence has been requested by the kings, sir. Master!
I was expecting.
It did happen very quickly. I told you your reputation will precede you, sir.
Isaac takes a long sip from his glass of wine and puts it back down. Well, who am I to say no to a king? Lead the way, then.
7 kings, Master. Prongor nods, his eyes wide with delight.
I suppose Garen does have multiple kings. Prongor, how did you know that?
He goes, I'm very smart, Master.
Apparently.
He goes, and down at the dock, they always tell the tales of the 7 kings.
Have I heard that tale personally?
No, nobody tells you tales.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Probably you'll have to share that with me sometime.
He goes, right I will, Master. And then he kind of gets up to come along with you. And then he's like trundling behind, and the guard's going to kind of turn around and go, I'm sorry, sir. Only Isaac Crowley has been requested. Prongor's going to, of course, Master. Yes. I'll wait here.
Just a moment, my good sir. Prongor is my servant. He comes with me.
Roll a persuasion check.
Wait a minute. Let's check. Who's my character? You gave me advantage on social checks, but it's only with, like, underworld criminals, not nobility.
Correct.
And
I mean, half the time they're the same thing.
You said persuasion?
yes, they are.
Yes.
Oh my god. Roll an 8.
The kings were explicit, the guard says. You know that in Garen, they're very rulesy.
Well, Prongor, there are worse places to be left behind. I'll be back within the hour.
I'll be fine, sir. He says. He's going to head back over towards the table and just sort of... Follow us, sir, they say. And you walk off. You notice something strange, though. Normally, you would expect, outside of Selenox, that you would not be appreciated as a tiefling. But you don't see any particular disdain on these men's faces, although the nature of your, the little that they do see of your face does seem to give them some startling.
Do I notice that?
Yes, you do.
What? Never seen a man who's sick before?
Why not visit the cleric, sir?
I am a cleric. Keep your thoughts to yourself.
You see him kind of quietly nod to himself, and then they don't say another thing to you.
Okay.
Euphemia, you have left the crew for a small period of time to head into the marketplace to see what there is to see. You've been to Garen enough to know that walking around alone is not some dangerous task. And even you need an occasional break after months on end on the boat. You find yourself walking through the marketplace, headed up towards several of the stalls with exotic goods upon them. Things that you can find in other places, but there always seems to be somebody extremely nice to showcase them to you here in Garen. As you head up to a group of tiny miniature cannons set upon the stall that you're looking at, he says, "Fine for models and war maps," he says. "I painted them myself."
That's okay, she says.
"Are you in the hobby?"
I do have one of my own.
He says, "Oh, just one. Would you like another?" He says.
She's trying to, not laugh in his face a little bit. Well, mine's quite a bit bigger, she says. It's a little small.
"This is the appropriate size," he says. "Bigger." He seems confused to not even be able to fathom that somebody could afford a cannon. All of a sudden, trouble. You see 3 guards come up on your flank.
Her first instinct is going to be to try to hide.
Roll stealth. Euphemia Carr.
Wait, can I re-roll? Because it's a 1?
Yep.
Yes! Always be halfling. It's not that much better.
So, 17?
It's 17.
All right. Some guy is going to walk in front of you, and suddenly you're no longer there in front of the guards. You're actually walking in between his legs, within time and rhythm to his steps. You see them look around. "Euphemia Carr! The kings have requested your presence!"
She's going to look really put upon. Can she lean around at all and see them from there without them noticing her?
You think you can?
She's going to try to look inside one of the guards to see what's important to him using
your fate. Go ahead and roll an insight check, please.
11.
11. And the DC, I believe, is a 15. It's going to depend on the person. So 11 is not high enough, unfortunately. You see him, and as you penetrate, you see a kind of mixed jumble bag that you can't make any sense out of inside of him. His emotions are scattered.
Can she sense any malice at all? Anything like that?
11 insight check. They look like they're on duty, mostly. They seem to be on official business. They're kind of holding themselves upright, and they're standing, and they sort of now are confused at how you got away from them.
She's gonna track behind one of the, stalls and try to stay hidden to see what they do.
They're
way
going
is she
to
gonna just
fan out, and you hear, "Oh, we lost. How did you do that?" You hear another one say, "Doesn't matter. The kings want her. Please, spread out and find her."
Which one's closest to her?
Looks like the youngest.
She's gonna peer around and try one more time. Can she try again?
Last time, yes.
Okay. That's a 21.
His three most important aspects are duty, specifically in this case to find you by his commanding officer. That seems to be occupying his thoughts. Anger that you have slipped through their grasps, and also he is angry because if you knew why they were coming to get you, you wouldn't have run.
She raises an eyebrow at the last one.
Small, as you look into that part of anger, you see almost a little memory of him being commanded by his officer. Go find the Euphemia car and bring her immediately to the castle. She's needed. A prophecy has been spilled in her name.
Her eyes widen. She pales slightly.
Said in her name. And then the last thing you see in him is confusion. How the hell did she do that? She's magical. He's thinking maybe you're not a halfling, but a brownie.
She's just going to pop up from where she was hiding.
Get stabbed
You
one day.
appear.
Yep.
He's gonna he sort of starts, and then, but there's a big crowd around, so nobody else can really notice. He goes, "Lady Euphemia, you're needed immediately. A prophecy has been given in your name."
She said, "If you could stop yelling it, please, I'll go with you."
Yes, he says. I found her, you hear.
Sort of.
Do you go with the men?
She does.
As you walk with them, you are going to reach the castle gate first. Roland Tarkat, you hear.
He just jogs straight in. He's dripping in sweat at this point.
Shadow is going to have been circling above. As she lands, you see her discreetly chewing on something. And she's going to kind of turn her head as she waddles in after you. You both just walk right in.
He smiles at her and laughs a little bit.
As you approach the gate with a entourage of 3, you're going to... you will approach, and the guards are going to kind of stand staring, and then you come forward. "Greetings, miss."
Hello, she says.
And then you are 100% certain your weapons are going to be taken away. But as you make it to the front, you just sort of walk in.
She kind of looks down at herself, really confused. And then kind of looks a little happy and just kind of walks on through.
You are going to walk up this giant winding hill.
Oh, God.
This is not what hooves were made for.
No.
As you get to the top, however, "Sir, we're going to need to check your weapons," the guards say.
I let him see the staff with the 3 stones on it.
"We'll have to confiscate that, sir."
I hand it over to him.
All right. You hand it over to him. If only he could see what lay beneath the illusion. But he cannot. He's going to place it carefully against the wall. "This will be stored until you leave, sir." They will. You are given a voucher and a King's Guard. They're also going to request your holy symbol.
Oh.
Truly. Do you ask this of every cleric who comes into the castle?
They're going to pause a bit too long. And one of them says, "Your reputation precedes you, sir."
Put it on the table.
Okay. And they, that seems to be it, and you are allowed in. The marble floors of the Citadel ring loud with your steps as you enter. It's nice. High buttressed ceilings arc into fine curved stone that leads down into statues of noble heroes, spitting water from their mouths or falling from over their shoulders.
Even to my trained eye, this is nice. Okay.
It's a little off style. It's old-fashioned. You note that this appears more like Dragonborn style of architecture than anything else.
Okay.
But there's some modern art in here as well. A lot of armless and headless statues grace some of the corridors. And there is some very expensive flatware being moved around throughout the hallways by hundreds of servants. You also see a lot of very well-armed guards that you definitely could not have all taken all alone.
Do they seem intentionally headless and armless, or like
They are,
ancient?
yes.
Okay.
Jennifer, you are waiting in the side chamber off of the king's throne.
Am I alone?
Room. You are attended by several servants at the moment, and you are waiting. And you will have a servant sort of listen at the door and then turn. Roland Tarkan has arrived, you hear.
She nods.
A minute later, the Femia car has arrived. Then they have found the meek, might be a hero.
She looks slightly more relieved with every name that's given, as though she's like, okay, good. At least something's going right.
Then, finally, all of the prophesized have been discovered and are within the throne chamber. Your presence is requested immediately.
Of course. Thank you. She takes a deep breath and she straightens her shoulders, kind of brushes back her hair, and she walks out. She has a businesslike but open expression on her face.
As soon as Roland enters the throne room, you see the kings arrayed all together before you. They must have been on some kind of official business, something important to require all of them. But you see Kodan in the center, which usually means it was defensive. Kodan is going to get up and slowly walk his bare feet down the stairs behind, and then come forward. "Ah, Roland," he says as he puts out his arms for you.
He embraces him.
He is a good 10 feet tall, and in his full plate armor, he must weigh, near 1,000 pounds. He's going to embrace you in this huge, overwhelming hug. You smell this sort of musky bear that you associate with Kodan specifically. "There's trouble afoot," he says.
I assumed.
"We're going to have to do this official," he says. He's like, "Give me a minute." He's going to walk all the way back up the stairs.
He steps back and then stands.
He's going to grab his sword and sort of hold it up, his giant great sword, all the way to the base of his throne. "Steward of Garen, you are called upon by your kings and your country in order to serve on our behest for the good of all people and the good of Garen. Do you answer the call?"
Absolutely.
"Wonderful. There are others on their way. Prophesized," the magistrate says.
Any idea who?
"There's one right now," she says, as Euphemia Carr, a small, red-headed halfling. Go ahead and describe yourself, Euphemia.
She's under 3 feet tall. She's a little short for a halfling, a little slight. Curly auburn hair. She walks with confidence, and her eyes are very intense, dark and intense.
You will see that she's armed. which means she has the trust of the throne. Go ahead and describe Roland to us.
He's blonde, shoulder-length hair. His hair is probably matted because of sweat. He probably still looks a little flushed from the run. He's wearing a green, loose-fitting, probably has a couple holes in that shirt. He looks like he just threw his clothes on, and some brown slacks. And he's got some agile boots on, but he not armed. Just looks like he's just.
So no legendary armor.
Looks like he could have walked in off the street, honestly.
Probably a beggar off the street, honestly.
While you might consider that, Roland is jacked.
Yeah, he's 190 pounds, 6'1", so he's
He's a big guy.
yeah.
I'd be closer to like 250.
Yeah, with all the
190
muscle.
is
He's
lighter than I
lean.
am.
He's lean.
All that's there is the muscle.
Yeah, that's it. He's very lean. He's elven also. He's half elf. So,
Okay, I didn't know that
so he's
part.
got.
Yeah.
He's a little lighter.
Oh,
Yeah, you see
he's
just the
half-
slightest
half
tips
elf.
of the
So
ears.
he's got-
Shadow coursed off towards the banquet hall as soon as you guys entered the palace. She loves going to the Citadel. Roasted pigs are just going to disappear off that table. As the two of you sort of come together,
I thought,
do you want to come in at the end?
yeah.
Okay. You are going to
Gotta make changes.
see one another, and the guards are going to sort of disperse around Euphemia. You are Euphemia Carr, yes? You look up and see a face that you have not seen for about a month. The last time you came to Garen to request safe harbor against your enemies, the pirate lords. Now you see them again, looking as impressive as the first time, and also the champion of Garen, Roland Tarkan, a name you've heard since almost birth.
She'll look over to them and say, "Well, I'm here. Tell me how I'm going to save you all."
You're going to see the kings sort of look at each other, and Boris, the Dragonborn king, is going to say, "We do not know about saving at the moment. The prophecy has not been deciphered. We are currently gathering everyone to see if there have been any additional strangeness surrounding the prophecy. As soon as everyone arrives, we will discuss the nature of the prophecy and what has happened so far. Please, if you would, remain here for the time being. We would like to make sure that everybody is within the same place. Sometimes this causes a trigger in a prophecy."
She nods once. Who was it that spoke, by the way?
That was a magistress.
She gives a nod of slight kind of deference and respect to her in particular.
She smiles a little bit. You think she remembers you. Then, maybe a minute later, you're going to hear a little flop of feet. And you will see first a tiny shoe enters the room. He is almost exactly, he's actually slightly taller than you. And you will hear a third foot in a walking stick. And then you will see a little meek with light blue skin, almost icy. He has large floppy ears, a bit like a dog. And he has a gentle, simple expression, features, and face. He has dark hair, and as he enters, you'll see his eyes rove with wonderment about the room. He goes, and then he sort of stumbles into the room as a guard tries to enter. Hi, he says. I might be a hero. Might be a hero, you hear Kodan say. Please enter. He's going to use his bear claws to gesture him forward. Large black claws that could easily rake a man. He seems to have these like short, unsure steps as he enters. Then he locks eyes on Roland. You see him sort of look up into his face. And then he sort of, hi.
You hear Euphemia just snort in the background.
He kind of looks over. Hi, I might be a hero, he says as he walks up and sticks out his hand. You get the strike immediately of a simpleton, a man who is easily manipulated.
But he seems kind.
He has that overly kind posture that suggests he's kind of a bumpkin.
She immediately reaches out her hand to shake his.
Hi, what's your name? He says.
Euphemia.
Euphemia?
Hmm.
He nods. I've never heard a name like that before. I might be a hero, he says.
Might be, she says with a question in her voice.
It's kind of useless, right?
Maybe not so much, she says, looking around. You're here, right?
I don't know why. He whispers to you. He goes, you're Roland Tarkand.
He hasn't turned to face Euphemia or might be a hero. He's just been kind of side-eyeing people the whole time. He hasn't broken that straightforward hands behind his back, but he...
You see the kings are
he
sort of
looks at
talking
him
to
and-
each other.
He looks at him and nods.
You knew my father, he says. My father was Learns Fast.
Yeah, we were really good friends in school. It's good to meet you, man. He reaches out his hand.
You see his jaw kind of drop a little bit. Yeah, it's really great, he says. I've heard a lot of stories about you.
Passed.
Huh?
He would have passed already, wouldn't he? Learns fast. I'm sorry about your father.
He goes, that's okay. It was a while ago.
I was away when he passed. I would have come to the funeral.
That's very generous.
No. I owe him a lot.
He kind of turns his head and is sort of like, you do? And then you hear a clomp, clomp, clomp. Isaac, as you open the doors, you can't believe how easy this was. You just walk in and apparently all the fucking heroes are already here, waiting for you. But no, you look in the room and you see the kings of Garen arrayed upwards, and they all seem to lift their heads as you enter. And you see Roland Tarkand, some halfling, and some meek in front of you. Isaac Crowley, the bare Urzen man who's 10 feet tall on the chair above you, says. He looks down. Please, come in.
Codan, isn't that the terrorist from Selenox?
Do you say that?
Yeah.
He goes,
She's gonna reach for her
And
sword.
he now feels like he should have brought his sword.
As you say that, I walk up and I stand right next to you.
He scoots over a little.
She'll look around. Who's this asshole?
as you all say that, you will see a magistress hold up her hand. We have intel to suggest that there have been difficulties discerning your character, she says towards you. However, it does not matter what your character. You have been called on by prophecy, regardless of your intentions. She says, we only ask that you stand to listen. Will you do that?
I can do that much.
He says, good. Please fetch Jennifer. A servant heads to do that. There is a moment where you all just are there. Hero's going to walk over towards Isaac. I might be a hero.
Isaac's face flashes with incredulousness that Amik is here, and then it quickly disappears, and he smiles and shakes his hand.
You reveal your fangs through your smile. Hero goes, so you're from Selenox? I've never been there.
I am. It's very nice to meet you.
He nods.
It's a wonderful city. I wouldn't recommend going.
She breaks in. So have you seen her?
Seen you.
The only her that matters in Selenox.
I have not seen Lady Nothing in many years. She's been very secretive, but
But you've met her. What's she like? Hero says.
to be honest with you, I have. She throws the best parties you've ever been to.
Huh. I don't know about that, he says.
And what makes you say that?
Well, because she's not going to give me any presents.
Would I know enough about meat culture to decipher what he's saying?
Birthdays are very important to me.
Okay.
They don't have many.
That's true, they don't.
How old
Only
are you?
about 20.
Okay.
The longest lived of them lives to 30.
Okay.
So what are you, she asks? Some kind of Selenox nobility? To hang out with Lady Nothing, you must be something.
I would have inspiration for that. Those kids.
I lived in the upper half of the city, that much is true.
You see a slight curl to her lip a little bit, like she smelled something that's kind of foul.
Yeah, he's sucking his cheek.
She might look up and notice that slightly and make eye contact with Roland.
Isaac seemed confident at first, but under the scrutiny and now surrounded by the king, he looks like a fish out of water. He's just kind of like standing there, keeping it together.
You will see coming down from the side chamber within the throne room a bright pink swash.
You will hear the click of heels on the hard marble floor first, as you hear the rustling of silk and probably very expensive fabrics.
Wow, she's beautiful, Hero says quietly.
Would I have heard that too far away? Okay. She gets in, and quickly her eyes dart to each of you. Good, you're all here.
Lady Juniper, it appears as though the prophecy is normal in this particular way.
So it would seem. Unfortunately, I've had no other flashes.
We have not informed them of the prophecy currently. Whatever information you wish to divulge about it would be appropriate, I think.
Of course. She turns to each of you. She makes contact. She kind of quirks her head just slightly at your disheveled and sweaty attire. But you see absolutely no hero worship on her face. You see only just recognition and just, okay. She looks at Hero and she smiles at him. And then she goes, I'm so glad all of you are here. My name is Juniper and I am a godmother. I had a prophecy today, and it included each of you. But it was a very odd prophecy because it didn't come in the normal way. All I know is that each of you is intimately involved in it, and that it is direly urgent. All 5 of us are supposed to figure out what happens next.
It involved me
Yes, by name.
and a meek,
Is there something wrong with that?
and a pirate.
Pirate.
She raises an eyebrow at him at that, surprised that he could tell for sure that she was a pirate.
She smiles.
You said yourself it wasn't a normal prophecy. How sure can you be it's a prophecy at all?
Because I've had prophecies in the past. That much is similar.
You seem awfully young for a godmother.
Have you met many of us?
I've never met one at all, Hero says. I didn't even think you were real.
You
She
know you're
smiles
supposed
brightly.
to dance, she tells might be a hero.
He says,
Don't.
but I can't.
She
He
looks
looks at the
so
king suddenly.
amused.
She holds up her hand. She goes, for the moment, that is not necessary. Thank you, though.
To answer you, I can't say that I have, but I was picturing they look like someone with a little bit more experience in what they do.
She smiles and goes, well, everyone has hidden talents and abilities. Yourself included, I'm sure.
One or two.
Well, what we know is that we believe it has something to do with Indrasi in the Crystal Forest. Something has occurred there, an explosion of some sort, but none of the guards of Garen are allowed to enter the forest through Indrasi's own proclamations. He's a little territorial.
Aren't they all?
Oh yes, but him in particularly.
What would I know of Anjasi?
The world dragon of fate. What is as close to a god of this world as there is. Anjasi controls, well, not exactly known how much he controls about fate, but at the very least, he controls a significant something about fate. It's suggested that he sort of breaks fate into these little pieces and sends them off to every individual on Mythia when they're born.
And he resides within the Crystal Forest.
Very center of the
Crystal
continent.
Dragons here.
That's right.
Mhm.
Okay.
He is one of six world dragons.
He basically never leaves the forest, though, right? So nobody
Correct.
ever sees him.
Anjasi,
She
you in
was-
trouble?
We believe something may have happened to him or around him that has caused fate to hiccup, perhaps?
Have you sent any scouts?
That's the problem.
Surely you've done some legwork.
Unfortunately, none of the people we work with have gone near it, and he is quite strict about who goes into his realm.
When did this happen?
A few hours ago.
Juniper has informed us, Kodan says, that she has a personal relationship with the dragon, and that she will use that relations to allow all of you to enter his forest.
You wish us to enter the Crystal Forest?
I
She
will
sounds
vouch for your
flabbergasted.
safety. I have been there in the past. And if it is as dire as I think it is, he would welcome our aid with submerging.
Whatever you need.
First I find myself standing next to Roland himself, and now I'm going to visit the Crystal Forest. What even is this day? I don't know what's going on.
We would normally not make such a request, the minister says.
Isaac looks back at you and he just kind of mocks your posture and like saying something the same way.
She raises her eyebrow very slightly at the posturing between the two of you, but she doesn't comment.
You'll notice Yuffie raising an eyebrow at basically the same time, looking at them.
The magistress will say, if this prophecy has been irregular, however, and Anjasi is injured, it could have ramifications that affect the entire world. We must know what has happened as soon as possible. There have been other reports coming in of strange circumstances happening.
Like what? She asks.
Have I heard any of this? Okay.
I am receiving sendings at all times, usually from our wide-ranging selection of guards and knights. We have heard unusual activity. Currently, all of them are rumor, so I would not sift through all of them in order to tell you. But simply know that there is enough here to make us suspicious that something has occurred, and that this prophecy may be more important than it first would seem. So, she's going to stand up, and she's going to step off her throne frontwise without going down the stairs, and she will slowly float down to the ground. We cannot trust that the normal way of things will continue to function, since things have already proven that they have become odd. So, we will entrust you with this quest, as you are the prophesized one to fulfill it. In the extraordinary circumstances we find ourselves, you must be properly armed, she says. She's going to pull out what you know as a messenger coin. The messengers are a group that exists on Mythia. They are able to run at extraordinary speeds across the land, creating a sort of tunnel through space that they use to zip across the continent. They use this unbelievable and extraordinary power to deliver messages. Without them, Mythia's normal everyday functions would likely break down. And a messenger coin is an extremely rare gift, usually given by the messenger organization to royalty specifically, so that the royalty can summon a messenger at will rather than going to one of their messenger boxes to drop off a mail and have it be picked up at a certain time of day. And you are gifted a messenger coin. Well, what?
Is it given to you directly?
Not you.
I'm not Euphemia.
It's given to Juniper.
Juniper.
Sorry. It's gonna take
Um,
me like 3 sessions. To do that.
That's why I always write them down first.
As you look at the coin, you have held one sometimes, and you see that there is a specific face engraved on this one. It appears to be a small creature with a very tiny mouth. It has a goblin-like head, though goblins don't exist in Mythia. Like pointed ears, high forehead that seems to go into just a little top knot of hair. And it seems quite serious with some goggles on. It's got some ridges along his face that almost make him look burned or scarred. We must summon him here and introduce him to his new charges.
Of course. She will do what she needs to do. She activates it.
You know how to use it.
I've seen one before.
She nods. You have never even held a messenger coin, so you don't know how she did. The other two of you, you know messenger coins are a thing. You've never used one. You didn't even know they were a thing.
She's going to be staring really, really hard at Juniper, like she's trying to figure her out.
She smiles brightly at you.
As you activate the coin with your will and a tap, you are suddenly going to hear a...
She uses her wand to do it, by the way. There's some sparkles that flutter off.
You're going to see Hero, like look up at the coin and try to get
She
it to
holds
look
it
at
down so that you and he can see it.
She looks against her will, kind of interested.
It's a messenger's coin.
And
So-
I will bring one here, she
Yes.
asks.
Instead of going directly to the mailboxes, we can summon it directly to the coin. Was his name on here?
No.
Okay.
You're going to see he is maybe about 4 feet tall. He has knobby knees, green, hard, leathery skin. He wears a scarf like one a traveler might wear, and has on like 2 goggles that have been like plucked onto his eyes, which are tiny, beady, and like a shark. Messengers are usually pretty unique creatures that you won't find anywhere else in Mythia, but this one seems particularly odd. He has tiny little clawed feet, and he just zapped in here like lightning. What has occurred? He says. Kha'Zix, your charges are being changed for a time. These prophesized heroes are going on an important quest at the center of the continent. Will you serve them as messenger? I serve who holds the coin, Kha'Zix says. Kha'Zix is the leader of the messengers. He's the fastest of their kind, she says. He's going to give a stiff bow towards you. Greetings, heroes.
Greetings, messenger.
Will there be anything more?
Not for now. Thank you.
You are priority 1, he says. And with that, he's going to take a quick step, and then he's gone.
I've never seen one move like that before.
Usually you don't see them move much at all.
Sometimes if you stake out the mailboxes, you can see one of them slip through. But you have to watch very closely.
Oh, I've done that, Hero said.
She winks at Hero.
Jingle, jingle, jingle. You hear the tinkle of glass. You will also need proper supplies, Tyrell says. She is going to have a tray full of potions, which she brings over towards you. She is going to hand them to Roland. Pass them out as you see fit, she says, and hands you 5 powerful potions. A potion of necrotic resistance, 2 potions of greater healing, and 2 potions of heroism.
Thank you.
And you can hand them to the party member who you wish to keep them in their inventory.
2 pots of heroism.
2 greater healing potions and a potion of necrotic resistance.
Just with that.
She Okay. Do you do it in game or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he looks down at nothing. He has to.
She smiles and then she goes. She snaps her fingers and a little beetle, flies out and lands and flips open and becomes dog size. And she puts them in. She goes, I'll pass these out as soon as we get out of here. And she snaps again. It shrinks down and becomes beetle-sized and lands on her cloak. It looks like a brooch.
He had a feeling something like that would happen if he handed it to you. So he does.
So,
She gives you a sly smile out of the corner of her eye.
with that complete, the kings are going to gather towards you all, coming down from their thrones. Since you are all on a quest with one of our champions, we would hope that you would inform us the moment you know more information about what has occurred. Please, whatever magic you need to use.
Considering I believe this will affect the entire world, I most definitely shall.
We hope it is not that dire, she says.
So why? She smiles. You can clearly tell she doesn't believe it, though.
We will need a means of travel for you all. You cannot walk to the center of the continent.
She looks over and she looks down at you. She goes, You are of the ship the Outrunner, right?
You're a well-informed person.
You see some of the kings be like,
She smiles and she goes, I heard that you made port not too long ago. She smiles and goes, Would you perhaps offer your ship as route? I know it's a river runner.
She looks at her and then looks at the rest of the party.
you see Hero sort of glancing between the two of you.
She gives a slight little smile to Hero.
She smiles and says, I know there is probably no greater captain who could do so, from what I've heard of your reputation.
She holds a hand out. I don't need the flattery. If this
She
really
smiles
is so
slightly.
important, my ship is the best. I'll do it. I can take care of transport.
Seems as though prophecy has provided everything. Magistress looks over. Make haste then. We do not know what has occurred, but it is likely not good. No prophecies are.
Might we have use of one of your chambers so that we might discuss amongst ourselves our plans first?
Of course. I'm sorry, she says prophecy's room. Okay. And you guys are gifted one of the side chambers with its allotment of refreshments. And you head in. You all move down the side corridor from the throne room of the kings and enter into an adjacent and private chamber. You see that the servants inside are going to exit as you are entering. Hero is still looking with a bit of awe at the marble and the beautiful tapestries and pictures. And as he enters, he goes, "Oh, that's a big lot of food," he says. You guys go into the room, and he seems a bit overwhelmed with the weight of what has occurred. And he sort of goes over and just plops in a chair meant for small people. He goes, "So, how long do you think this will take?"
I wish I knew. Unfortunately, with it being as vague as it is, honestly, even proper prophecies with verse and whatnot, it's hard to gauge exactly how long they'll last.
Well, how long is it to sail to the Crystal Forest?
She answers that one.
It is roughly 12 days.
She says, at least 12 days, and that's assuming we don't run into any trouble. If this really is that important, I can't imagine there won't be forces that we're working against.
I hope not, but I think vigilance would be appropriate. Have any of you ever been called for something such as this?
Roland, you have pertinent information. You know that Harper has been called many times to such prophecy-based quests. They tend to be more epic than what you're used to. Although Harper's specifically are more epic. Others that work with Harper, your mentor, have not been so epic of scope and scale. But the ones that you have heard about, most certainly they're larger. You've often wondered why you and Harper are not calling at the same time. But work with it, yes.
She glances around. She goes, "It can be intense for all parties involved."
Harper's told me stories.
I'm sure he has.
So, important character. All of you have heard of Harper the Bold. He was the foremost champion of Garen before Roland came to his age. He was the former steward of Garen, a position caretaking hero of immense might. And you know that his fate is that with a blade in hand, he can cut anything, including intangible objects, like love or hate or tension. And he is about 50 now, but still active, from your knowledge.
So, we need to plan. How soon can each of you set out?
I guess right now, if we need to. I've got everything.
As soon as my equipment is given back to me.
Her eyebrows go down slightly. Why was it taken?
The guards don't trust me, if you can believe that much.
I can believe it.
She says, "A moment, please." And she goes, steps out into the hall, and flags somebody down.
Are you really careless? Hero says.
It's neither here nor there.
I think it's rather pertinent.
Sure. Did not ask to be called by this prophecy.
None of us did. Believe me, I had better things to do too. Well,
Yeah.
other things.
I require you to go and fetch Mr. Crowley's... Crowley. Sorry, too much good omens. Mr. Crowley's effects immediately.
Right away.
She walks back in the room. They're fetching them for you. Sorry for
Very
the
much
inconvenience.
Roland, she breaks in. What do you know of him? You recognized him immediately.
Hey, he's right there.
Well, he's not giving us anything. Might as well talk to the source.
His face was just tied to a lot of chaotic shit going on in Selnox.
She leans back.
3 years ago, something like that.
She gives you an odd look at you instigating this particular line of questioning.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 years ago, right?
Yes.
Isaac lets out a big sigh and he pours himself a tall glass of whatever bottle is closest within reach.
Fine liquor.
Oh, fantastic. Here's my gold plain cup.
Here's the whole plain cup.
Did Roland ask something?
No, he said, what was it, like a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that.
Okay. That sounds about right.
It was a mess.
That's so
Were you
nice.
there?
No, I heard about it. But, believe half what you heard, you know?
Selnox is on the polar opposite end of the continent.
That's what.
Garen?
No.
It's just north.
One of the closest.
Exactly. No, Kahiris, technically.
Yeah,
Excuse me,
I said one.
Alirna.
I see it.
I said it's one of the closest.
Well, actually, Farmwatch is the closest to...
No, Farmwatch is...
Oh, sorry, my
Farmwatch
bad.
is far.
Wrong
Farmwatch
direction.
is close to Aragon.
You're correct. My apologies. I've, for some reason, thinking Aragoth was the one.
We are going to bicker about the locations of cities you can't see. Know that we're in Garen. That's all you need to know.
Anyway, I forgot what we were saying.
Yeah.
So Selnox is not super far from Garen. You can make the journey in about 2 weeks by coach.
You asked, was I there? And I said, no, but I heard. And then I said, well, believe half what you heard, whatever.
Yeah. She goes, well, as Mr. Crowley was there, I assume that he has the most foremost knowledge on it at the moment. However, people do change, and everyone was called here for a reason. So, until the time calls for us to be separated, we must work together. So, if anyone has any strong objections, I say put them out on the table now, and we'll deal with them.
I'll go home and get my stuff right now if you want me to.
And since you have the most to prepare for, how long until the ship can launch?
We sustained some damage previously that needed a bit of repair.
You think Triss might be ending her work on that?
It should be ready within a day.
Very well. Then, can we set out at dawn? I believe that will give all of us enough time to gather our things, say our farewells, and head out.
I'll have to speak with my crew, but I don't see why not.
Of course. I apologize, I didn't think about your crew. Will they be okay with this?
I think it'll be the most fun they've had in a long time.
Indeed. Well.
Quite the talented mediator, aren't you?
I try.
I appreciate it. Thought Rowan was about to throw me into the dungeon.
How do we know you're a godmother? She breaks in. Forgive me, but you're young, and I've never met one.
Can you do a wish? They say the godmothers can do wishes, right?
She
I don't know what I can ask. I've never met a
looks
godmother.
vaguely put upon, but she smiles and she goes, something small. I do not wish to expend my abilities prematurely.
So you
She
really
looks.
can do a wish.
She looks directly at Hero to choose it.
Oh, you should put down your wand then. Because it might be magic otherwise.
What makes you think I don't need my wand to do the wishes?
Godmothers only need to snap their fingers.
Who told you that?
All the stories say that.
They also say that you're supposed to have done the dance. And you didn't.
Is that required for the wish?
Sometimes.
I thought that because there was a prophecy, they said not to do the dance.
She smiles and she goes, what is it you wish?
Oh, I know. How about my favorite food, right here?
Which is?
I wish for my favorite food.
She sighs and she blinks at him and it just appears hovering in the air.
Right.
She makes no speech. She doesn't move her hands or anything. She just blinks and then a sparkle of magic poofs around.
You see a blueberry pie appear in the air before Hero. He's gonna, reach out his hands and, grab the floating saucer of pie. He goes, smells like grandma's. He goes,
Does it reach your approval?
well, check it, he says. He's going to reach over and grab a knife and, slice a little slice out of it and then, pick up the slice. Tastes just like hers, too. It is a wish, he says. It's proven. She has to be a godmother.
Does that meet your satisfaction?
I am impressed. And I don't know much about magic, but you didn't seem to do anything else.
No.
Can you really wish for anything? Can you grant anything?
Within reason.
It's not what she's here for.
But I do not use my powers frivolously. I use them for things that are needed.
Need is a matter of perspective. But I understand.
She becomes smiley again, because she got very serious for a moment. So, now, anything else?
I just need to go home and get my stuff.
Of course. Will Shadow be joining us?
Yeah. If she can.
Shadow. Your mount, right?
Yeah, the dragon.
All the bardic songs of Roland speak of the shadow dragon that he rides upon into fights.
Did she go on your boat?
As long as she forgives me for accidentally thinking she was about to eat children several years ago. Sure.
I don't know if she didn't remember that.
Let's hope
Have you two met?
not. No.
Just the dragon.
Just Shadow.
It is a small world. Currently. So, shall we?
Oh, okay. Guess I'll go say bye. Everyone.
So, meet at sunrise at the docks. Correct? Very well.
We'll be waiting.
Is there anything you require for the ship? For housing so many of us? Do you need more food, rations, whatnot?
I'll need an idea of how much you all eat. Or you could bring your own.
Oh, I intended to. But otherwise.
No.
I don't eat very much, Hero says.
I don't know how long this is going to take, but depending, especially with me going, when it's over, Jasper will most likely compensate you for the use of the ship. If you talk to him, I'm assuming you're about money, so.
It's an interesting assumption. Makes sense, right?
I don't know.
Pirate.
But I just want you to not get paid for it. He's gonna get up and.
My goodness, you all look quite quippy today. So, shall we?
What about you, Isaac?
I'm ready to leave. I simply have a companion of mine I need to go pick up.
You mentioned equipment?
Oh yes, have they come back with that yet?
No. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Brain was elsewhere for this.
Yes. Your equipment is currently in the hands of a servant at the door. You hear a knock, and then it shall be handed back over to you.
Okay. Isaac explains that he has a friend he needs to go pick up to come with us, and then he's ready to go.
What about your creations?
Those as well.
What do you say?
I have a few projects of my own that we'll need storage space for on the ship.
How big?
The largest would be the Oaken Bolter, right?
Yeah, they're all about the size of a person. The Oaken Bolter is appropriately sized in the mini.
2 about the size of an average person, and 2 more about the size of a large dog, we'd say.
Done.
Plus space for spare parts, equipment, things I need to work with to keep them in good shape.
Would you like the whole floor?
If you're offering, that would be fantastic.
How does Euphemia look currently?
She looks like she's kind of a little bit of a nasty smirk on her face.
And one more companion of mine who will be joining us.
Roland would be mad if he didn't stay for that interaction.
All right. With, do you
She
promise
should've-
to give him a floor?
Isaac knows that you're being sarcastic, but like he's challenging you. It would be well worth the space, I can tell you that much.
We'll see what you bring.
Fair enough. I suppose we do need enough food for all of us.
All right. As each of you split off, I want to know first where June is going.
June goes back to the school, and she will write a message and send it in the messenger box to be picked up.
Okay. Where are you sending it?
To a prearranged location for Rafe, if she can't get a hold of him.
Where are you going?
She's gonna go straight back to the Outrunner first to let the crew know what's going on.
You're late. What happened? Molly says.
Oh, don't even get me started. She tells her,
You had trouble? Garen?
I don't know if trouble's the right word, she says. Let's pour a couple drinks.
Alright. You head on the ship. Where do you head?
I'm just thinking Isaac also would have been like, I need a spot for a workbench and
I knew that's where it was
a
coming.
place free of water where I can store iron bars, if that's alright, and we would like wrangle off all this stuff.
She's totally going to give you space up at the lookout, little thing. You know that, right? That's what's coming. It's your own floor, don't you know?
So, I forgot to have Isaac describe his character to
Oh,
you all.
yes.
So we didn't
I
do
noticed
that.
that, but I was waiting to see if you would.
Yes.
He is tall but very slight of frame. He has kind of ghostly pale skin and pale white eyes that are very cloudy, almost as if he has cataracts in both eyes. And then he has kind of long, stringy white hair that goes across both shoulders, and he has 2 horns that I can't... Did we decide on a shape for his horns?
Yes, you did.
They spiral like a ram.
Yeah, that's what we did. Okay. I was about to say that they go straight back like my mini, but no, they go like this. He walks and carries himself with the presentation of someone who grew up in a upper class. He always seems very put together.
Don't forget about the...
I don't know if any of them have seen that.
It shows through your clothes.
It's like
Okay.
Iron Man.
I guess so. There's a giant...
I'm not sure how you
So
missed
if
that,
you're wearing
honestly.
your robes like normal, then it will be barely visible, like just a shape of beneath your clothing.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Can you describe my thing? Because you can describe it better than I can. I don't have as good of a mental...
Well, if they're just seeing it from the outside, are you wearing your robes or are you wearing like a shirt?
Nice.
Probably a shirt.
A shirt?
Possible. I don't
Okay.
think they would have let me wear robes.
Then there is an indentation of a point, like right there on his shirt. And it comes out maybe that far from his chest.
It's kind of like you have a giant D20 sticking out of your chest.
A little bit. It also it looks like he's got like a big hanging necklace that goes down to his shirt. It's like got like a big bejeweled brooch on the end of it, and it's like sticking out. But as he moves against his clothes, you notice that even if it pulls, it doesn't move. So it looks like there's something engraved in his chest.
And then if you ever see it, there's wires and stuff coming out of it, going into his body.
I doubt we'll see that for a bit.
Probably not. Isaac isn't like rolling with his shirt off.
Also, like a comic relief beach episode where you go swimming.
Hot Springs episode.
Yeah.
Definitely a Hot Springs episode.
And where does Isaac go?
Straight back to where he left Bromwell.
You find him drinking. He goes, Master Isaac, how did it go? Are you a hero now?
Yes.
I knew it, he says. A celebration. He orders a fine glass of your favorite.
Okay. I cheers him.
Uh,
Tell him what happened.
He goes, I told you they would recognize your talents, he says.
Well, Bromwell, it seemed like all we needed was another fresh start.
Do you
New
give-
skills.
Do you give him any impression of the people who you're traveling with?
Yes.
What are those
Wait,
impressions?
like impersonating impressions?
No, like there was this
I wanna see
annoying happening, or like Roland was very mean, or something like that.
It's so mean.
I walked into the room, and obviously the first person I noticed was Roland.
Roland talking
Indeed.
with his dragon,
His dragon was not there.
his armor,
Nor his armor.
what about his sword?
Mostly he looked homeless.
As a matter of fact, he looked quite sloppy, standing in the throne room amongst all these kings. He was dripping sweat all over the place.
Disgusting. Rongor says.
That's why I wasn't sure what to make of it, but I suppose when you're a hero, you can do whatever you want.
It's good news. Rongor says.
I don't think I let even you all let yourselves fall apart that much in front of others.
Certainly not, he says, kind of stiffening his vest a little bit. He goes, quite unkempt, as far as cults go.
Use the word cult sparingly, Krongor.
He says, groups, clubs, as far as clubs go. He
Well,
says,
there was a meek there named might be a hero, so I suppose that's his fate.
meek, he says.
Yes. That was my reaction as well. And did I tell you there was a fate involving all of us, bringing us together? That's why the guards came and got me. Apparently I was part of said fate.
Ooh, that might be nasty business, master.
Not fate, he says prophecy.
He goes, I've heard of these heroic prophecies before. They say they're bad news.
Really? What have you heard?
Well, all of our tales talk about heroes being brought together by fate. It usually involves dangerous circumstances and dismemberment.
Well, even stranger was the final member of the group. A halfling. Yeah, not final. A halfling pirate by the looks of it.
Oh, you should be interested in joining with us.
I highly doubt it.
Oh, why not?
And then a godmother was there.
A real one.
I had doubted it at first, but then
But you remember, my master, when I entered the city, there was a woman who said that she was a godmother, and she was not.
How do you know?
Because
Because
she didn't know what I was doing when I started dancing for her.
you gave her the dance, I see. I had my doubts, and the Meek asked her to prove herself, and she summoned the Meek's favorite food right in front of his face, without even knowing what it was. A wish.
Now she gave my favorite food. Prongor says.
Do I know Prongor's favorite food?
You do not.
Prongor, what is your favorite food?
He goes, I have to have some secrets.
Fine, then. Don't expect it on your birthday, then.
He goes, do you know when my birthday is, master?
That's my next question.
Birthday.
Roll an intelligence check.
Don't. And she's so like,
Inspiration on that? Alright.
You said intelligence?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck, I plus 0 with that. Oh. 5.
No, you did not know.
Prongor, I can't say that I do.
He goes, well, that's alright, master. I know when your birthday is.
Well, tell me, when is yours, then?
He will tell you it is just like passed like 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Well, then, happy late birthday, Prongor.
Master, my heart, gravely touched by your ability to remember my birthday. He says, he's going to reach out and take your glass. Says, a new level of friendship. He's going to take down the shot.
Back to business, then. Prongor, I think you should know that we're going to be traveling by boat. You're not seasick, are you?
He says, no, master. I've been on the docks for years.
Well, we're meeting at dawn. Let's have all of our things ready to be packed onto the ship.
Thanks. He winks at you heavily. You give him a wink back. He goes, shall I bring the sacks for the puppies?
We'll be on a boat, so I don't think you dump them overboard if I don't need them myself.
What about the clamping traps?
I think we're going to have to travel heights, so we'll leave those behind.
So leave the morgue tools.
Definitely the more tools.
We'll be taking them.
No, we'll definitely be leaving them.
Hard and quiet, master. Well, we'll put them in a bank, he says.
Good call.
My extra arm.
We'll be taking them.
It's a fine choice, master. I like the other paint job for certain circumstances.
Is that why you swapped them out? I could never figure that out.
Royal blue makes me look distinguished. He says.
What does its usual one look like?
It's like a bronzy metallic.
Okay.
love Prongor.
Alright. We'll get ready to leave.
All right, that you do. Roland, what do you do?
He's gonna run home. And,
Literally run.
literally run home.
God, take a bath, sir.
As you head home, you remember that Harper and his crew are all far to the north near Selenox right now, dealing with some undead problems. So they are not in the city for you to ask any sort of advice of. However, Leslie is here. Roll a intelligence check, please.
Use your inspiration.
Oh shit, I failed.
Roll one.
Yeah, Leslie is here in the city.
You have to announce before.
Yeah, oh shit, never mind. I was gonna say,
I'll allow it this time.
I'm just gonna roll again and see if...
Oh
Oh,
2 ones.
That's great.
Nice.
Shit. He was gonna run home if any of his family was there. He was gonna let them know what was going on. And grab his armor, his shield, his lance, and his sword, and then head over to Leslie's to just spend the night there before he heads to... So, he wouldn't wait for his family, he would just let whoever was home know.
As you knock upon Leslie's door, she's going to open the door. Come on in. She's going to kind of grab you and pull you inside and embrace you in a fierily passionate kiss.
Yeah, he honestly would probably just get down to business for a minute.
Alright, as you are laying across the disheveled covers of a bed, your own clothes tossed in a messy pile on the floor,
No, it's actually.
she is going to look over at you. Are you going somewhere?
Yeah.
I can tell. She says.
I don't know how long this is going to take either.
Where are you going? What are you doing?
I don't think you'd believe me if I told you.
Are you serious?
It's a prophecy.
You got a prophecy?
Yeah, it's open-ended, though. I don't know what's going to happen.
What does that mean?
It's unclear
Unclear. It's a prophecy. They're not unclear.
if this one is.
Who is translating this? An idiot?
No, I don't think so.
Well, then what is it?
We're going to the Crystal Forest.
It's to go to the Crystal Forest. That's the whole prophecy.
No, there's a group of us going. The prophecy is a group of people. And something's going on there. So we're just going to see what's going on there.
Who
Maybe
described
it's
this mission to you?
just kind of thrown together.
What is the prophecy wording?
There's no real wording. It's just kind of flashes, she said.
That's not a prophecy, Roman.
It's from someone who's given prophecies before. She said it's what it felt like-ish. Yeah, it didn't have a verse, didn't have any sort of real direction.
What the pits? That's not how prophecies work.
I know. There's apparently something that happened in the Crystal Forest, though. An explosion of some sort, so.
For the adjustments.
Maybe.
Oh.
I know.
Roman, that sounds really bad.
I know, so I'm here.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, if you run into my sisters, or my mom, or my dad, can you let them know?
You ran over here to give me a lay before you didn't even talk to your parents?
I thought maybe Allison would be home when I went home, but she wasn't, so...
So you didn't leave a note, you just ran over here real quick.
I grabbed my stuff and came over here.
So you remembered your lance. Okay.
I don't want to worry.
So you're just gonna give me that job? You know I'm leaving tomorrow.
So you don't have to worry about it either.
Sometimes I wonder why. I'll take care of your family, and you'll gallivant off on a heroic mission, she says. Another one.
Hey,
When are we going to go on one of these together?
we went on one like yesterday.
The joke mission, the PR stunt that happened to turn a little dangerous.
Yeah, it was pretty scary.
Now it's pretty scary, but then it was a joke.
Yeah, most things are jokes until they're f***ing scary.
All right. Angels help me, she says. Do you want help getting her along?
Nah, I'm just gonna bag it up and carry it. I don't think I'm gonna need to be dressed for the
Who are you traveling with?
pirate chick.
You're going to go in your rags to meet a pirate chick.
Better in the rags today.
You know, if you weren't famous, people would think you were the worst hero in the world.
That's kind of the point.
That's the point. Okay. Why am I even trying? I should just go out in my bra and panties to do my missions.
Well, that's different. But if you want to, I'm not going to tell you can't.
Good on you,
Right.
sir.
Okay. Well, good to know that I have freedom of your confidence. I love you. She reaches over and she gives you a kiss.
Oh. You remember that cult terrorist shit that went down in Solomux a few years ago?
Satan's hand? Is that it?
No. Well, it wasn't Satan's hand, was it? Were you in Satan's hand? That was you. That was it. Okay, alright.
And she goes, was that Salamax?
Yeah, the guy who's at the forefront of it. The tiefling or whatever.
Tiefling. You mean Ace?
No.
Ace is human. You fought him like 12 times.
No, the guy who was in Salamax who caused all this shit or whatever. Did Harper not tell you about this?
In Satan's Zio?
Nah, some tiefling dude. But anyways, he's a brutes.
A member of Satan's hand is in your group.
Oh, God.
I don't know if he still is. I don't know, but
That is completely useless information. You can't just be like, you know that one guy that long time ago? Yeah, it's maybe that guy. It might be that
3 years
one.
ago.
Okay, then how come you don't remember?
I did remember. I recognized
What's the
his
name?
Crowie.
The Crowies?
Yeah.
Aren't they nobles?
Yeah. Dude's here.
Wait,
Dude's here.
says,
Isaac Crowie.
The son?
Yeah.
He's not in Satan's hand.
He was the one who was part of that whole noble.
He was the face of that rebellion, wasn't
Yeah. There it is. Yeah. You see, I was big on it too.
he? Yes, just like most things.
Welcome to my world, sir.
Isaac Crowley, isn't he the one that can make things come alive? She goes,
Everyone talks like some deadbeat people. His intonations there.
She goes, I think he can bring objects to life.
I guess that's why he's in the group.
Roland, he's like the perfect counter to you. If he decides to betray you all, he will beat you.
And make the prophecy.
I guess it is a prophecy, but you said it was weird.
Yeah, it's very weird.
I mean, literally every time
There's
you
a
describe a
meek-
prophecy, it's weird.
There's a meek in the group.
Really?
Yeah, it learns fast. Who I went to school with when I was little. It's this kid.
I remember you talking about this.
Yes, it's this kid.
Oh my gosh, is he really young?
Yeah, I mean, they're all really young. But yeah,
Well,
seems might be a hero. So we'll see how that goes.
that fate is worthless.
Maybe.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
It'll be a while since I'll see you.
I mean, maybe we'll be back at times. I don't know
Well,
how
I've got
this
to
is
try.
gonna
I've got to
go.
walk prisoners all the way down to Alir now. It's going to take weeks.
I think.
We're gonna swing by Elena probably, but I don't know. Maybe I'll see you at some point. We'll see.
Okay.
Oh, we have a messenger call.
One of the king's messenger coins? How did they give you that? Why? Why do you have a messenger coin?
She gave it to the godmother who's running the whole gamut, so we'll see what happens. So maybe I
There's
should...
a godmother?
Yeah. That's the one.
A real one?
We run us all together.
The godmother.
Yeah, prophecy check.
Well, this might be big.
Prophecy.
Godmothers don't just come down for no reason. Especially reveal themselves. Like, Harper's told me a lot about the godmothers.
Same.
They're very secretive.
Same.
Well, we gotta make use of the time we have left.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to move in on you again. Alright. And, Jennifer, you send your message.
After she sends the message, she's also going to head back through the portal to the... I forgot the name of my own
The wheelhouse?
organization. Thank you. Yes, she's going to head back to the wheelhouse and update on a list and just gather up all of her gear.
Okay, got it. And as the sun rises the following morning, each one of you is going to be headed on your way to the Giran docks, where a small galley ship called the Outrunner currently waits. And I think we will go ahead and call it there for the night. Everyone, hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and make sure you hit the bell icon to be notified. And don't forget, do try this at home. Have a good night.